Serious, Redditors, what are your hobbies? What do you really get joy from after work or on the weekends, etc.? Gaming. When I was 14, all of my friends decided to dump me. I spent my freshman year of high school alone. My dad noticed this, but could tell I didn't want to talk about it. So he bought me a cassette 4-track. I spent the next 3 years recording my own terrible music in my room. Eventually I joined bands, moved to college, met other home recorders, played shows, made friends, had adventures, put out records, got press, met strangers who knew my band. That old Tascam taught me creativity and problem solving. I became better at my craft and became a more confident, well-rounded person because of it. My current band is recording its 4th LP. We're on a small label that we respect and get to play with touring bands that we like. It's small potatoes, but I am satisfied just the same. Walks while listening to music at 3 to 5 AM. I like sea kayaking in a very gentle way because I'm not very fit. I bought my own equipment and gear and I've seen some incredible things as a result. Seals popping their heads up as you paddle past heart attack territory. A pod of pilot whales blowing air beside me. Exploring small islands that hardly anyone gets to visit. I had a tough couple of years personally and I often feel like a boiler whose pilot light has gone out. But there's something about being out on the water that brings an unmatchable calm to my soul. Playing the piano. After a hard day's work, I just like sitting at the keyboard for an hour or so and just relaxing. And having a bit of fun. Reading a good book on your bed or in a park. I always used to hate reading as a kid. That's because I was reading the wrong books. It sounds lame but it can transport you into a world someone else created and you manifest in your mind. Disc golf. Inexpensive, challenging, and an outdoor activity. Discovering new music. Writing. The process itself is kind of therapeutic. A way to sort your thoughts out and knowing that someone reads and enjoys what you've written makes it all the better. Just being alone. I get called out for this. But I just like a quiet and isolated environment to watch Netflix, games, sleep, etc. Doesn't mean I hate company or hanging out with friends. I just want some alone time. Photography. It's a relatively easy hobby and when you take pictures it usually means you've never been to that specific place before. Keeps things fresh and new. Cycling. It's honestly one of the few things that can clear my head. I can forget about work, bills, relationships, my future. Mainly because I'm either in a lot of pain, or I'm admiring a view, or planning out my lines to safely ride down a mountain pass and not off it. I like to design my own college football helmets. Here is some of my work. http www.flickr.com photos/92,698,014 Amateur astronomy and astrophotography. I honestly look forward to finishing a long, tough day of whatever just to come home to my telescopes. Have silent thought conversations with all the beautiful objects in the sky. The moon is so much more beautiful when you've seen her up close. And no matter how many times I've seen it I still flip out every time my eyepiece finds Saturn. It's so worth the sleep deprivation lol. Just really adds to my quality of life and it's really humbling too. Gives you an interesting perspective of your significance and how inconsequential many of your problems really are. Just enjoying time by myself. Cut myself off from the rest of the world and drift into my own zone. I absolutely love quality alone time when I have the opportunity for it. I like to trail run. Running in general helps me relax but trail running and being somewhere quiet and non-overflowing with other runners always feels fantastic and even after 20 miles in the hills, I'm still smiling afterwards. The other thing that levels me out is paddle boarding out at sea. Again. Where it's quiet and not many other people around. I guess being out and in nature is my overall hobby. Being stuck in an office all day drives me crazy. I love playing the piano. The only annoying part is starting a new piece and thinking that it's impossible. Piano also opened me to the whole world of classical music, which is quite amazing actually. Brewing beer. On my 4th batch now. Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. It's great to exercise, be a part of a club, and improve at a skill. Playing guitar. I moved and had to leave my guitar behind. It took me like 4 months of feeling shitty to realize it was because I missed playing and singing and writing and being a creative human. Playing paintball. It was something my parents thought was too dangerous to let me try when I was a kid, so I never got the chance. Flash forward to last year when my friend had a paintball birthday I attended where I instantly became hooked. I started playing every Sunday, almost always going there alone. Things snowballed after a few months from messing around with open play to practicing with local speedball teams. Currently I'm on a Div 4 team and we placed 1st and 2nd in our last 2 events. It has been the best thing I have been able to be a part of in a very long time. Bonus. Breakout pictures. http. imgur. NFNFR. From our last event. In the summer I putter around in a small vegetable garden. This year I'm growing string beans, potatoes, and carrots. I'm just starting to harvest now. Picked almost 3 pounds of beans last weekend. I also work on restoring antique cars. I do a lot of the work myself, and although very frustrating by times, I find it really rewarding when the car is complete. Once it's done, I usually keep the car for a year or 2 to drive on nice days in the summer and then sell it and start looking for my next project car. Magic the Gathering. It's a ton of fun with the right people and even better with some non-zero amount of alcohol. You could probably make the same argument for board games or Dungeons and Dragons, but this is the game I choose because I like spending a ton of money on cardboard. You don't actually have to spend that much money on it, and you can probably get by drafting twice a month for $25. If you play casually, you can definitely get by spending close to nothing if you have all the cards already. I usually play EDH, or Commander as they now call it, which is a casual format that you can make a decent deck for less than $50, which is less than the cost of a video game. A lot of the enjoyment really comes down to who you play with, so as long as you have a good group of friends or play at a nice store, you should be set. Jumping out of airplanes. Roller derby and cello. One gets out my frustration and pent up energy. The other calms me. I ride horses. No, I'm not rich, I wish. I actively train and compete and am out at the barn 5 days out of the week. It is something that takes me out of my own life. Even for a little bit. When you ride you have to be completely in the moment. You can't think about your work or your stresses. You just have to ride. Plus nothing beats a good gallop on a gorgeous day with your friends. I love establishing and maintaining my aquariums. There's nothing like that feeling of pure joy you get from looking at a new or a done aquarium. I enjoy watching my fish more than television. I go partner dancing. Not ballroom, but other stuff. Mainly Lindy Hop, West Coast Swing, Blues and Tango. Try it. For the social anxiety people, it's a way to get out of your comfort zone. It's a good place to meet people. And to meet the other gender. Most of my relationships developed from this. I love to hunt. To be in a tree stand pre-dawn. And watch the woods wake up around you. I've been inches away from various birds, porcupines, deer, and other animals. The roller coaster of emotions when you bag a deer are incomparable to anything else. I'm also eating venison chili right now. I collect spores, molds and fungus. I take an adult gymnastics class. Started with very little skill and it's awesome to see how much I've learned in just 6 months. Plus it's a great workout. Incredibly fun and the other adults in the class are awesome. Hydroponics. Chess and go. Honestly just walking. I'm living in Boston for the summer. And it's awesome to just leave my room. Pick a random direction and just walk until you're tired. I come from a smaller city that isn't very walkable, so it's a liberating feeling to be able to explore. There's always something interesting going on, and each time I return to a place I've already been to, it's always been a different experience. Plus there's 7/11s everywhere, and Slurpees on hot days are awesome. I like to go for long rides on my motorcycle. Just moved to a new city, so it's neat exploring the roads, finding nice routes to ride. I love learning to cook new things, especially on the BBQ. It is really rewarding once you sit down to eat what you just spent an hour making. Going to the gym, sitting back, relaxing and putting on a good TV show or movie, playing the piano. Urban exploration. Finding a rarely seen building or location that's been untouched for decades is euphoric, especially when you find a place with old items or newspapers from the time in perfect condition and the light is hitting the room just right to give it that age look. Just being an observer to these places is awesome. Also, running is nice. Once you get over the 2-3 week pain of breaking in your body, you'll find running keeps you fit while giving you time to just reflect or plan. Or just distract. Cooking and yoga. I love to cook. Creating food and then eating it is a pretty awesome experience. And I get really zoned out on everything else except the cooking. It's relaxing. Yoga. Well, I don't practice as much as I should, but there's really nothing like a good session. History and music. Nothing like listening to music that fits your mood perfectly. Or looking at an interesting map from centuries ago. Bourbon and mindfuck movies. Mountain biking. Hiking. Target shooting. Working out. And video games. I rock climb. The only time I feel really alive is when I'm hundreds of feet off the ground, mostly because you can't think about anything else. Playing basketball. I've been playing for 12 seasons now and I'm actually starting to see myself how good I can be. I'm usually my worst critic after a game, but I can see when I've played a good game now. Also, the leadership and teamwork skills I've learned from that sport I don't think I could gain anywhere else in life. Basically the only thing I do besides work, eat, and sleep is skateboard. If I could, I would skate all day every day. Astronomy. I can't think of anything more mesmerizing and thought-provoking than looking up at the stars on a clear dark night. There is so much info on the web that can supplement your observations, and even if you don't have a telescope, there are many objects you can identify without. Also, it is not a static scene that you are looking at. The sky is constantly changing and major events come around quite often. Meteor showers, comets, eclipses, conjunctions, ect. It's a great hobby for laymen, amateurs, and professionals alike. A hobby that absolutely anybody can do, and that nobody can master. Fishing and drinking whiskey beer. You can get a pretty decent starting spinning reel rod and some basic lures and bait for under $200. And I thoroughly enjoy trying new beers and whiskeys. Snowmobiling in the winter and spring. Fishing year round. And shooting, also year round. I also enjoy loading my own ammo as well. Warhammer 40k. Tabletop gaming is really fun. Creating music. It's definitely just a hobby, but a serious hobby. Will I ever try to make it big musically? Probably not. It is fun to just create music of your own and try to refine your own craft in your free time. That's the joy and excitement I get from it. Walking, hiking. It's incredibly relaxing walking by myself or in a small group of friends. And since I live near the Lake District, England, I can walk for hours in peace and quiet without seeing another human. It's great. Riding, working on scooters. Recently also motorcycles. Recording podcasts. Taking pictures. Checking out the bats. For me, doesn't matter what I do in my spare time as long as I do it accompanied by people I enjoy being around. Being alone just gets me thinking about the worries and problems